I spotted this little church on Google Maps, and being it's only a couple of miles away from my parents' house in Tywyn, and after looking at the images I thought I'll go come and have a look at it, and it's worth it, definitely. Celynin's old church in Llangelynnin, Gwynedd. The church sits on a slope above Cardigan Bay to the north of Tywyn. The A493 road and the old Cambrian Coast Railway pass through the village close by. Now, this old parish church was dedicated to St Celynin, and it was first mentioned in documents in 1254. And today this medieval church is used for occasional old church services in Welsh. This late Gothic south window and the west slit opening are from the original 13th century church and have been well preserved. And this 17th century porch and bellcot at the south has a bell inscribed with the date 1660. And apparently westerly gales would have rung the church bell all winter long, so it was built into a more sheltered bellcot above the south facing porch. Its roof timbers date from the 15th century. The church is a Grade 1 listed building, and it retains much of its medieval character, as you'll see inside. It's only been subject to minor 19th century restoration, but retains most of its medieval character. And the church is no more than 50 metres away from the open seas of Cardigan Bay. Now, the slope of the land shows sufficiently inside the atmospheric little church to force a slate fall to lower the congregation a couple of metres below the minister, making it look more important, I guess. Now, this is a very old octagonal font, still in the church. It doesn't say how old it is though. Now, here on the south wall of the chancel hangs what looks like a wide ladder, but it's actually a 2-horse bier used to carry coffins between 2 horses from the deceased hill farms to the final resting place at this shoreside church and the small graveyard. Now, this caught my interest when I was doing the research. The interior of the church includes a very rare 17th century wall painting with text and skeletal figures. This Tudor wall painting was uncovered in 2003. I thought, well, come and see this. And there's also a virtually complete set of benches of simple design dating from 1823. Now, these benches not only record the names and addresses of their occupants, but also include a complete social hierarchy from the vicar and the gentry to the servants' benches, giving an interesting insight into the local 19th century social history. Now, St Celynin lived in the 6th century, and he was reputed to be one of the 12 sons of the king who lost his court. The legend of the lost city of Cardigan Bay, when somebody fell asleep and left the gates open and it got inundated by the sea. And apparently, as a result of this loss, his sons lived devout lives, and some of them as monks. And St Celynin was reputed to have founded this church. Now, an interesting character that was buried here was Abraham Wood, a famous Welsh gypsy and a renowned fiddler, as in the instrument. And he was buried there in 1799. But Abraham Wood was born in 1699, so he was 100 years old at the time of his death. And the gypsy family of Abraham Wood first arrived in Wales in the 18th century, and they're speaking a language very close to Hindi and Sanskrit. and Welsh society found their customs strange and somewhat unacceptable. But the family included such colourful characters as Abraham Wood himself, their chieftain, who always rode a pedigree horse but died in a cowshed on the slopes of Cadair Idris. There's a book about him somewhere online as well, which I've been very interested to read about the history of the family.